Hello friends, this is Hedda. It is finally June, the weather is warmer, and it's time to spend long evenings outside, swim in the fjord, and enjoy the rustling of green leaves in the summer breeze. I am really lucky that I can enjoy all those things. Today we're talking about plants. A couple of months back I decided to start a plant journal. This is purely for fun and doesn't help me be productive or anything. It's a tiny collection of my plants and seedlings and propagated plants. There are still some spreads I'd like to set up, so today I'm going to do that and also show you the development in my plants this spring. When deciding what kind of notebook I wanted to use as my plant journal, I decided that less is more and I wanted something small and preferably a notebook that didn't have like 200 pages. Because there's no way I'd be able to fill all of it. So I decided to use this traveler's notebook style expedition notebook from RUSTICO, which was kindly gifted to me by them. RUSTICO is also sponsoring this video. The small expedition notebook is made from real leather and can fit 2 inserts using the 2 elastics inside. What I really like about this traveler's notebook is that the inserts have dots that are spaced 4 millimeters apart instead of the regular 5 millimeters that most other notebook creators make. Especially in a small notebook like this, it feels a lot more user-friendly when the dots are placed closer to each other like this. So thank you so much to rustico.com for gifting me this notebook and for sponsoring this video. I have been using this plant journal for a few months now, so some spreads are filled in and others have yet to be made. I'll take you through all of it and we'll make some spreads together and talk about how I'm failing at taking care of houseplants. The first thing I had to do was, of course, to get all of my green pens, markers, and washi tape and make a stationery spread in the back. I wanted this journal to be as green as possible, but I definitely used some other colors as well because it felt a little bit bland to only use green. On the first page is my plant journal cover page. There isn't much else to say about that, I think, so I'll just move on to the next page, which is where I keep track of my cuttings and propagated plants. So here I have an overview of cuttings I've taken, how long it took for them to grow roots, and how long I waited until I planted them. As you can see, I've propagated a lot of Zebrina cuttings. The colloquial name is Wandering Jew, and it grows super fast. I stole a couple of cuttings from my mom's plant, and that has now turned into 6 different plants. I gave one away to my friend just the other week, and I have yet to plant 2 of them, so they're still sitting in water. I've set aside 2 spreads for cuttings because I love propagating plants. It really is so much fun. I've also propagated my golden pothos and this ivy looking plant. I'm not sure if it's actually ivy, but it's called ivy in Norwegian, so I'll just call it ivy. I'm not a coffee table book person, but I got this beautiful book about houseplants for Christmas last year. It's made by 3 Norwegian designers and it's full of information on various plants, plant care, science, and tips for how to keep your houseplants happy. I keep this book underneath my plant stand together with my plant journal, both because it's decorative and also because it's easy to reach for. The book has a Wheel of the Year page where it explains the yearly cycle of houseplants in Norway. Norway is cold and dark in the winter, so it's often difficult to keep houseplants alive throughout the entire year. But if you treat them correctly and let them have a sort of hibernation period, they should come back strong in the spring. I copied this wheel into my plant journal because I thought it would be a nice addition, and it's both informative and decorative. The next spread I made is a spread to keep track of seeds I planted this spring. My mom always says that you should plant seeds before May starts, but I planted mine a week into May, so nobody tell her. My boyfriend got me this cute little seed planter, and it was the perfect amount of spots for the 4 different kinds of seeds I stole from my mom. My mom is really into plants and gardening, as you can probably tell. I actually thought I'd plant more than 4 kinds of seeds, so I made room for 2 more in the spread, but then I ended up not getting any more seeds, so I have 2 empty spots. Maybe I'll dare to plant some seeds now in June, which might get big enough to survive the winter indoors. Since the seedlings still look nothing like the beautiful plants they will hopefully one day become, I decided to try to draw the plants above the seed packets. The idea is that the craft paper is the soil and the plant is growing out of the soil. Very creative, I know. The seeds sprouted almost immediately after planting them. I think it took 2 days before some of the sprouts started showing up, and from then on most of them had a huge growth spurt. I have to repot these fairly soon, but I have run out of pots and need to go shopping for some before I can do that, but hopefully sometime this month. I thought it would be fun to fill the journal with the kind of profiles of my plants, including what kind of light and amount of water they like, how long I've had them, and their names and other information. I don't actually have that many plants, at least I don't think so. I've killed countless plants over the years, and the ones I have now are the remaining survivors. So let's go through them in order. Let's start with my greatest disappointment, the Monstera. My Monstera is a sad sight to behold. I bought it around March or April last year, and since then it has grown 0 centimeters. Really. I bought it from a plant store here in Oslo, and when I repotted it the first time, I realized it was actually 3 Monstera plants squished together into one pot. As time went by, 2 of the plants died, probably my fault, but I still don't know if I gave them too much or too little water, or if it was the light that was the problem. I have no idea. I also moved twice that year, so that could also be a factor. Anyway, I took the remaining plant and cleaned off the dirt and put it in a vase. It sat in the vase for almost 3 months. It didn't grow at all, but it didn't die either, so I took that as a good sign. And then recently I potted it and put it next to the window. I make sure to give it plenty of water since it gets a lot of light and warmth. After filming these clips, I actually found a black and shriveled leaf inside of where the new leaves sprout from. So I think the plant tried to grow a new leaf, but something's wrong with it, or it was the environment. But then yesterday I also found that it was sprouting 2 new leaves, so hopefully they will grow into big and strong leaves, and maybe I'll get to see the split leaves soon, because as of right now it doesn't have any splits or holes in the leaves, which also means that it's probably not very happy. So I'll keep my fingers crossed for this one. I hope that it will enjoy the summer more than it enjoyed the last year. Now, I had no idea what this next plant was called, so I spent ages trying to figure it out before making this video. It turns out it's an asparagus fern, which is confusing because I have another asparagus fern and they look nothing alike. But sure. I got this as a tiny plant from the plant store. It was one of those get 3 mini plants for the price of 2 deals, and I thought it was really cute, so I bought it. But oh boy, I was not prepared for it to grow this big. I should have trimmed it a year ago, probably, and instead I've just let it grow longer and longer, and now it looks crazy and it just keeps sprouting long tentacles that seem to pop up overnight. I think this is technically a weed, which would make sense considering I haven't managed to kill it yet, and it's grown more than any other plants I've owned. And now you're probably wondering what other plants I got in that 3 for 2 deal. And yeah, here they are. This first one is this weird looking dude with leaves that are kind of like a mullet, like business in the front and party in the back. This one grew a lot last summer, and then it has been kind of stagnant since September. I'm hoping for a new growth spurt this summer though. I tried all these plant identifying apps and none of them could tell me exactly what this plant is. So if you know, please comment below. So I'm not making a spread for this one because I have no idea what it is. And the third tiny plant I got is this lovely guy. This is the other asparagus fern. Somehow it needed a way more humid climate than I could give it indoors, so sadly most of it died over the last year. I managed to save it, and now I'm spraying it with water every day, and I make sure that it gets the moisture it needs. I've seen that these can grow to become really big, cool plants, so I'm hoping this one will grow larger this summer too. I might have too high hopes for this one though. I don't think it's meant for the Norwegian climate at all. It's really cool looking though. This plant is probably my proudest plant at the moment. This is a golden pothos. I found this guy on sale in a grocery store close to my grandma's cabin last summer and decided to bring it with me in the car for the 5-hour-long drive home to Oslo. It's not a rare plant, it's actually super common, and I really wanted one because they apparently can handle some neglect and mistreatment, which is perfect for me and my not green thumbs. It has been steadily growing longer branches since I got it, and I've propagated 2 cuttings from it. One which I planted just a few weeks ago, and one cutting which is still growing roots in a bulb of water. A few weeks ago it wasn't doing so well, and I thought it might be too much moisture in the pot and not enough drainage, because I noticed some leaves were turning yellow. So I took it out and removed as much soil as I could, and then I repotted it with new fresh soil. It's doing much better now, so I think that did the trick. This plant is so decorative and it looks great on a shelf or on a pedestal like I have, or anywhere really. So moving on to the next one, I mentioned this plant earlier in the video. This pot contains 3 cuttings that I let sit and grow roots in water for about 5 to 6 weeks, and they have all been growing super fast. I know it can be difficult to make plants live happily so close together, but so far I've seen no problems, and I'm hoping to add my remaining 2 cuttings to the plant and repot all 5 to a slightly larger pot. This way it will look like one big plant, and I think it will look very pretty in my living room. The mother plant of these cuttings live with my mom, and she said hers grows really fast too. I'm pretty sure I won't be able to kill this one either. And then we have the Begonia maculata. I wanted a plant like this for so long, and then this February I finally bought one. February is a terrible time to move a plant to a new environment, but I thought it might come around in April or May. It hasn't, and I don't think it's very happy with its situation. A few leaves have withered and died, but I also see some new sprouts appearing, so it can't be that bad. It does look like it's hanging a bit though, so I might have to reconsider its location in the apartment and maybe put some more support sticks in the pot. I've heard that this plant sprouts flowers, but I haven't seen any of those yet. The leaves are so pretty and unique, which is why I wanted it to begin with, and I hope that it will grow big and strong eventually. Lastly, there is this ivy. This started out as a cutting that I propagated from my mom's ivy plant. The mother plant is so big, so I hope this one will grow big too. I kept this one in a bulb of water for a long time before planting it, so it had plenty of time to grow long roots. After I potted it in soil, it has grown 3 new leaves, bigger than the ones it had before, so I'm taking that as a sign that it's happy. This might be my favorite plant at the moment because it's so small and cute. Now that I have made a spread for all of my plants, I definitely feel like my plant journal has gotten more of a purpose, and I'm happy with what I made so far. Getting your hands dirty with soil and touching and smelling the plants as you repot or propagate them is a really calming activity. I find that I'm more relaxed afterwards, and it really forces you to slow down and concentrate because you don't want to hurt any of those frail roots that most houseplants have. I am far from knowledgeable when it comes to keeping houseplants, but I'm learning a little at a time. If you enjoyed this video, please consider subscribing to my channel and give the video a thumbs up. Also, if you have a favorite plant, please comment the name of it below so I can check it out. I wouldn't mind adding some new plants to my small collection. I hope you're all having a lovely day, and I'll see you next time. Bye!